Hello, Watem here and welcome back to some more Higurashi When They Cry. Let's continue. If the accident was my fault, then I could have accepted it. Yeah, like, if we had had that line a fair bit deeper into this current section of the flashback, I would have expected Ven to go on to Rika's point of view, but considering how recently we started the flashback, I don't think that's going to be happening. If the accident was my fault, then I could have accepted it. But it wasn't. So I wasn't even there. Aww. Oof, that must be rough. I waited for my parents at home. I liked going to the mall with them. We always had a meal at the restaurant in the mall. I always told them to let me know if they were going to the mall. But on that day, they went without me, where I went to my friend's house to play. My friend wasn't in, so I went back home. I didn't see anyone at home and found a note that said that they were going to the mall. I regretted going to my friend's house. I waited at home. And waited. And waited. They didn't come home. They were still gone by dinner time. I was getting hungry. And they got angry with my parents for leaving me. Aww. I thought they were having dinner at the mall restaurant without me. If I hadn't gone to my friend's house, I would be eating dinner at the restaurant too. I love the little flags that came with the kids' meals. I was collecting those flags. Yes, I was. I was trying to collect 20 of them, thinking that once I collected 20, something wonderful would happen. But I couldn't collect 20 of them. I only needed one more. If I had one more, maybe the accident wouldn't have happened. A very sad memory of a flag from a kid's meal. I kept waiting for my parents to come home from the mall. I was hungry, so I started to eat some dried fish. If I ate too much, my mother would find out, so I was careful not to gorge myself. Then the phone rang. I assumed it was from my parents. I answered the phone in an angry manner, but it wasn't them at all. Sorry, a flashback within a flashback. I only just noticed that. What happened to the house? We'd rented it, so maybe someone else had already moved in. What happened to my ring? What about my desk and all the flags that were in the right middle drawer? If it wasn't my house anymore, where was I supposed to go? Even if it remained my house, my parents wouldn't be there to welcome me, protect me. Just because I didn't have my parents to protect me, the whole world became so cruel. How could anyone take me away from the house I was used to living in, just because my parents were gone? Why didn't they just leave me alone? They asked me many things. They tried to confirm many things. But how could I have understood any of the forms they gave me? I was asked a yes or no question. I had no choice but to answer yes. Before I knew it, I ended up at the orphanage. It was beyond heartless. I didn't do anything wrong. I was just a little girl. I had to sign so many papers. But why this? A warm and gentle world ended suddenly without advance notice. And I was thrown into the cruel and merciless world alone. Was this the real world? Did I have any allies at all? Just because my parents died and I didn't have any relatives, the world had become so sad. When is the die going to come up with a 6 instead of a 1 to make up for the continuous series of the latter? Tears were pouring down my cheeks. The salty taste further saddened and irritated me. I couldn't do anything but cry. But no matter how hard I cried or pitied myself, the cold rain wouldn't warm my body or save me. I didn't even know where I was or in which direction I should go. Riko showed me the map to the House of Love and Mercy when we were planning our escape, but we only learned the shortest route. I was completely lost. Strangely, after I finished crying, I felt a groundless strength within myself. I once learned that tears wash away particles in the eyes. There is a different purpose to them too. Tears also wash away what's in the heart. I clenched my fist and forced my feet to move. I headed in the direction that I would believe to be correct on the gravel road. The rain was still pouring, and it was getting darker and darker. I roared at the sky amidst the rain. My sadness was turning into anger. What, you mean rain lasts forever? As I looked up, I felt the raindrops hit my face. There is no God. I knew that in my heart. But such disbelief wouldn't save me. If I believed he was there, I should have been saved. No, I needed him to be there. Was he going to answer me? I heard thunder. Then I realized he was there. He was there, and he was listening to me. In his eyes, everyone is supposed to be equal. And he was listening to me. I heard thunder again. He was listening. I continued. I heard thunder again. It was loud enough to make me shiver. Normally, I would just hide in the house, wait for the thunder until the thunder went away. But on that day, I wasn't afraid. Should I make this a thumbnail? I was thinking of making the previous picture a thumbnail, but this is quite tempting. The heavens replied to my provocation. The heavens took aim at me, a lowly human who dared sling constant insolence and insults at them. That was my wish. I opened my arms. He's God, so he wouldn't miss me. However, I guess even God makes mistakes sometimes. Although he's supposed to be fair, he'd been unfair with me.
がもし私を殺し損ねたなら、私の運命をひっくり返してみろ。哀れな子。
Oh, a flash from heaven. I thought I smelled something burning just before it hit. The sheer force knocked me to the ground. It was a strange experience. It was something that had just happened. It already felt like it happened many years ago. I had no idea how long I was down for. I smelled something odd. A bad stench woke me up. Ozone, perhaps? When I looked, I saw that a huge tree behind me had been split open. Its leaves were smouldering. Maybe it was smoke from that then. I looked up and saw sparks in the darkness. I couldn't understand what just happened. I just stood there. The thunderbolt had struck. It didn't strike me. It struck the tree behind me. I didn't get to die. It was telling me to keep walking in the woods in the cold rain. I won my bet with God. I bet my life. I bet my life against the lightning and thunder. It could have killed me instantly, but he missed. So he had to fix my life. I don't think that's quite how it works, but okay. I looked up at the sky, laughing and bragging that I was still alive. I had thunder again. It was acknowledging its loss. Come on, God. Save me. I won the bet, so save me from this misery. Hello there, Takano. Whoa. Oh, those are the only versions we get, okay. I stood there. I waited for God to do something while the rain poured down on me. I almost said while the pain roared down on me. But he didn't answer me again. I couldn't hear the thunder anymore. Again, I felt warm tears pour down my cheeks. What was the exact words she said? Okay. I was half expecting a kawaiso. No, true. She would be much older than Rika. So Rika probably hasn't even been born yet. What was I thinking? If there was a God in heaven, he wouldn't have let anything like this happen to me. My miserable life was proof of God's non-existence. Darkness is about to swallow me utterly. Would I have to sleep out there? God must have wanted me to die slowly in this cold rain instead of granting me an instant death by lightning. How interesting. That you're going on about how it's proof of his non-existence, but then still insisting that he exists. I wished the sun would go away. I wished the sun would never rise. I wished that, as the woods had grown completely dark, my existence would be hidden by that darkness. I wished that I could just disappear. Had it been an eternity, or was it a matter of seconds? I couldn't even tell time in such darkness. It was then that I saw something. Something that was a light. I noticed it only because the woods were so dark. But was it really there? Had it been there this whole time? Fire from the lightning? I felt like the light was inviting me towards it. It was a fluorescent light. I didn't normally like fluorescent lights, because I always thought they looked cold. But I didn't feel coldness from that white light. I made myself believe that the light was a guide sent by God. I had to believe, otherwise I wouldn't be saved. Light reflected in a puddle. It wasn't a muddy puddle, it was a puddle on asphalt. I'd made it out of woods, it was on a paved road. The light was a street light. Being on a paved road didn't really resolve anything. It was just a country road. Take me home. It was a road that went through the woods, so there were no houses, no shops, not even a single car going by. There weren't too many streetlights on the road, so it was still very dark. My feet touched the asphalt. It felt so different from the gravel I'd been walking on earlier. It felt almost merciful. My feet had grown used to walking on gravel, but after feeling the softness of asphalt, I never wanted to go back to the former again. I could only choose between heading left or heading right. I was grateful to God for leading me to this asphalt road, but I wish he had given me a little more guidance. I get the feeling such a guidance is about to come. Such a little bit of luck couldn't make up for all the unhappiness I had gone through. That was when a car comes past. Oh, no, never mind. I sensed his guidance. I saw another light in the distance. It was only on the right side. I headed towards it. When I got there, I understood what it was. I was amazed to find it there. A phone booth? Telephone booth. It would actually make a call in the middle of nowhere. Telephone booth in the countryside is rather unusual. Is she near, Minamazar, I wonder? Is she on that stretch of road between Minamazar and Okonomiya? There were plenty of red public phones all over. I had always thought telephone booths only existed in big cities. It almost looked as though the telephone booth had been put there as punishment for doing something bad. Aww. And I thought that. I felt bad for the lonely telephone booth. It reminded me of myself. Even if I went inside the telephone booth, what could I even do in there anyway? I already knew the answer to that question, but no matter what, I just had to get in there. Oh, I wonder what you could do in the telephone booth. Now, ooh. Yeah, no clue. Definitely not ring the phone or anything, no. But yeah, also it'll be good shelter for her if she stays the night or anything. And out of the rain. The door squeaked as I opened it. There were lots of moths and other bugs flittering around the light. I usually hated bugs, but in that moment, I felt like they were my friends, sheltering from the rain like me. There was no heater, but it was still very warm inside of the booth. It sheltered me from the cold rain. Soon enough, I crumbled to the floor. The warmth from the fluorescent light embraced me gently, and I felt like it was telling me that it was okay to cry. But I had no more tears left, because I cried them all when the lightning struck. Aching scratches covered my body. My calves were in pain too. Everything hurt everywhere, and I didn't want to get up ever again. I wished I could fall asleep. If I did that, staff from the orphanage might find me. The windows on the booth were high up, so if I sat down I wouldn't be visible from the outside. But as it was the only shelter in these dark woods, staff would be sure to check it. That was why I couldn't stay there for long. Telephone booths from back then weren't completely made of glass, so it was possible to hide inside one. My exhausted spirit understood that I had to move, but I couldn't make it myself. Maybe I was experiencing some kind of vision. I felt a strange calmness that I'd never experienced before. I didn't feel that I was myself. It was very strange. I thought that maybe I was killed by that lightning. I had assumed I was still Miyoko Tanashi, but maybe I wasn't her after all. I seriously considered those things, and I started to think that the telephone booth had something to do with it. Because God had led me there. He couldn't have done so just because it was providing shelter from the rain. There had to be something else. Does she remember, about Dr. Takano? And if she does she know the phone number, or is there a, would the address book perhaps have it, but probably not. I wondered what it was. Could there be something in the booth that could save me? But what? The telephone booth is used to make a phone call. They didn't have any money. Is there money in there? But then, I noticed something that looked like copper. My heart skipped a beat. The 10 yen coin I saw wasn't there before. Did I just miss it? I didn't think so. Must have just showed up. In other words, this 10 yen coin was guidance from God. He was telling me to make a call with that coin. But who? There was no telephone book. In that case, I could only call a number I knew. God want me to do that then? There was only one coin. I could only call one number. And I couldn't talk for that long. I challenged God earlier, so it was just a matter of course to think that God was challenging me in return. I had only one chance, and he wanted me to test my luck with that chance. I left the telephone booth and looked up at the sky. Then I yelled in my heart, "You're on, God." I wondered who I could call. Who? My house? My parents were dead, and I had no relatives. Even if I called, nobody would answer. Actually, the phone bill wouldn't have been paid for a long time, so the phone line would already be disconnected. My house was my lost life itself. No, the debris of my life. Calling home would simply be an expression of regret. Try and counter to my positive attitude of one trying to change their life. So surely using the coin to call my house was wrong. Which meant I had to cast this 10 yen coin towards my future. Future? My future? What future anyway? Then I heard a huge thunderclap, which cleared my mind. That clear state of mind, I saw something from the past. It was the last sight of my father. His final moments on the hospital bed. Though suffering from pain, he tried to tell me something very important.
もしもな、お父さんが死んだら、高野先生を頼りなさい。高野ひふみ先生だよ。言ってみなさい。
高野ひふみ？
そうだ。高野ひふみ先生だよ。高野先生はお父さんの恩師なんだ。きっとお前を助ける。
お父さん、お父さん、お父さん、お父さん。
Many doctors came into the room in a hurry. He wanted to tell me something else, but the doctor stopped him from my talking, so it wasn't audible. It shouldn't have been, but it was to me. I heard it, but I didn't want to hear him say it while suffering, so I pretended I didn't hear. He said it while coughing. I heard it. They were numbers. I swallowed once. That's right. It was a phone number. He knew nobody would take me in because we had no relatives. He told me to get in touch with him, Dr. Hifumi Takano. He tried to tell me his phone number. Ah, what had I done? He tried so hard, using his last chance to tell me the most important thing. The thunder from earlier had made me remember it. The number I couldn't remember even once came out so smoothly. I dialed it in. This really was it. This is the number for my father's teacher, Dr. Takano. In my hand, stopped just to try to put the coin in. If I hadn't remembered it correctly. No, there was no need to hesitate. I had to believe in myself. This had to be the correct number. I had to dial it before I forgot it again. Picked up the phone and put the coin in. Beep. I heard the dial tone on the other end. At that point, I decided to kill myself if it didn't work. Go back into the woods and wait for another lightning bolt. Could lie down and let the rainwater drown me too. Could also fall asleep in the middle of the road and wait for a car to run me over. I made up my mind and put the coin in. I didn't hesitate any longer. I dialed the number at once. But I had to be careful. If you dial quickly, sometimes you can make mistakes. I was getting irritated. That almost made the phone number go vague in my head. I dialed the last digit. Heard some electronic sounds on the other end. I hoped that I dialed the correct number. I didn't know what to say to Dr. Takano if it did connect. Where was I? What was I supposed to do? What was I supposed to ask him? I didn't know any of those things. Making a call isn't cheap. 110 yen coin would only buy me a short time to talk. The line must have connected then. I heard a ringtone. I only had a short time once someone answered the phone. I thought for a moment that I should put the phone down, and I could at least get the coin back. I could call back after sorting out my thoughts. But then, someone answered.
もしもし、高野です。
Felt like I was suffocating. My memory had been correct. I couldn't tell the age of the speaker, but it was a grown man's voice. Anyone who was my father's teacher must have been quite old. Never mind that. I had to hurry and say something. Hurry, hurry.
高野先生ですか？ひふみ先生ですか？
ん？そうですが、どちら様ですか？
He must have been suspicious. I couldn't blame him. A stranger was asking him about his name. Of course he'd get suspicious.
ごめんなさい。私、田無って言います。田無美代子と申します。
田無さん？はい。
私の父に、高野先生に電話しろって言われたんです。父は、田無竹光と言います。
田無ああ、田無くん。ああ。
His voice suddenly changed. Dr. Takano had remembered his old student.
私、娘です。お父さんに電話しろって言われて。
田無くんに何かあったんですか？
Ah, not good. I was going to run out of time.
お父さんとお母さんが事故で死んじゃって、それで高野先生に電話しろって言われたんです。
田無くんがお亡くなりに？そうですか。二人とも？それは本当にお気の毒です。田無くんは私が大学で講師をしていた時、しばらく交流があったことがあります。何事にも勤勉な良い青年でした。結婚式に呼んでもらった時にあったのが最後だったような気がします。
Obviously, he didn't know I was born, but he remembered my father. That was truly a stroke of luck.
それで、田無くんは私に何と？
I didn't know what to say. I was only told to call Dr. Takano. How could I tell him that? My time was running out. I felt more and more anxious by the minute. Phone calls had disconnected without notice, but somehow I sensed it. I only had enough time left for one more sentence. Oh, for one sentence. So I decided to say one sentence filled with all my hopes. The phone call got disconnected. Maybe he only heard part of what I said. I could only hope he was able to sense my despair. I couldn't hear anything from the receiver anymore. But I actually talked to Dr. Takano. I confirmed that Dr. Takano existed. He existed, and he remembered my father. If he grieved over his student's death, he would come and visit my house. He would find out I was sent to an orphanage. And he would come and get me. I was when tears flowed down my cheeks again. I thought that my life was hopeless. I never knew that finding even a grain of hope could make me feel so happy and strong. The voice I heard on the phone was so warm and dependable. My father must have thought about me for a long time in that hospital bed. He came up with a name that he could trust his daughter with. Dr. Hifumi Takano. So I could trust Dr. Takano. I had to believe that he would find me. But it would take more than just a few days. I'd have to wait patiently. A few days? A month? More? I could only wait pathetically. Patiently. Either way, I couldn't stay in the telephone box. The staff would easily find me there. I went out into the rain again. This time, the rain felt a little warmer than before. I had wished to die by lightning, but after that phone call, I was filled with hope and the will to live. I wanted to live, and that was why I felt pain all over my body. When I still wished to die, I didn't feel anything. I had to wait patiently until Dr. Takano came to pick me up. I had to get to the House of Love and Mercy. That would be the best place to wait for him. I didn't think the orphanage would tell him I escaped to the House of Love and Mercy. The house wouldn't stop me from calling him. All I'd have to do was call him again and let him know where I was. But I didn't know where I could find the House of Love and Mercy. I couldn't see any signs anywhere. I didn't even know what direction the orphanage I escaped from was in. But I couldn't just stop. I had to walk. I had to find shelter. I had to find someone and ask for directions to the House of Love and Mercy. And I had to keep going, because I finally saw a light at the end of the tunnel. The chills and throbbing pain tormented me, but I couldn't die until I met Takano-sensei. I wished a car would come by. If it was someone who lived in the area, I could ask. But the police wouldn't do me any good. I was sure the orphanage had already called the police about our escape, and they wouldn't be forgiven. The police were sure to send me back to the orphanage. Either way, I wish that someone would show up. Otherwise, I'd have to keep on walking on that asphalt in the darkness forever. How long did I walk? Still no car. Just as I couldn't help but think that maybe the world perished, leaving only me behind. A car showed up. Okay, I was kind of expecting it to end after this section to end after the last part, but since it isn't, I will end it here for today. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And oops. Until next time, see ya.